R.K. Narayan is one of India's foremost English-language writers, and his short story, An Astrologer's Day, is a masterclass in irony and human survival. The story drops us right into the midday heat of a bustling Indian town. Vendors are hawking fried groundnuts, auctioneers are shouting over the din, and the narrow dirt roads are packed with a surging crowd. Sitting quietly under a sprawling tamarind tree is our protagonist. With his forehead smeared with sacred ash, a saffron turban wrapped around his head, and cowrie shells spread on his mystical charts, he looks every bit the authentic holy seer. But he isn't a seer at all. He knows absolutely nothing about the stars. He is as blind to the future as the innocent customers handing him their coins. To survive in this chaotic, crowded marketplace, he relies entirely on his ability to maintain this fragile costume of mysticism. If the illusion breaks, his livelihood vanishes. His method is highly effective. When a client sits down, he refuses to speak for the first 10 minutes. He just lets them talk. This flowchart shows how the con works. The customer hands over their anxieties, marriage, money, or family. The astrologer analyzes their body language, then feeds those exact fears back in the form of vague, flattering observations. He tells them exactly what they want to hear. He didn't choose this life out of a desire to swindle people. Years ago, he had to flee his ancestral home in the middle of the night, forever severing all ties with his past without telling a single soul. So he treats this deception as a practical trade. He sits in the dust, analyzes human nature, and earns a modest daily wage to feed his wife and child. But this peaceful, carefully constructed routine is a house of cards. The secret he ran away from is about to sit down right in front of him. Night falls on the market. The vendors blow out their flares, plunging the dirt road into shadows. As the astrologer begins to bundle up his cowrie shells, his workday appears to be over. Then a man steps into a stray shaft of green light, blocking the way out. He is hostile, completely dismissive of the astrologer's spiritual claims, and looking for a fight. The stranger thrusts his palm forward and forces a wager. If the astrologer can provide worthwhile answers, he gets a handful of coins. If he's bluffing, he has to pay the stranger back with interest. He refuses to let the astrologer leave. As the wager is sealed, the stranger strikes a match to light a cheroot. For a fraction of a second, the flame illuminates his heavily scarred face in the pitch-black darkness. The astrologer freezes. He knows that face. It belongs to Guru Nayak, the man he stabbed in a drunken brawl and left for dead in a village well all those years ago. Urgent, he is physically trapped in the dark with a man who has spent his entire life hunting him. Now he has to read the fortune of his own would-be victim. The astrologer's throat goes dry. His first instinct is to hand the money back and run, but Nayak's grip is too tight. He realizes physical escape is impossible. He has to use his wits. Chanting a few incantations, he leans into his role. He looks at Nayak and casually mentions that a knife once passed through his chest and that he was pushed into a well to die. Nayak is stunned. Baring his chest to show the scar, he demands to know when he will finally find the man who tried to kill him. To save his own life, the astrologer looks his pursuer in the eye and delivers a calculated lie. He claims the attacker is already dead, crushed under the wheels of a heavy lorry in a far-off town. He then warns Nayak that his life is in immediate danger if he ever travels south again. He orders him to take the next train north and stay in his village forever. By leveraging his own crime as psychic proof, the astrologer entirely neutralizes the threat. Nayak leaves satisfied, completely unaware that his target was sitting inches away. It is nearly midnight when the exhausted astrologer finally reaches his door. The market is silent, and the terrifying encounter is behind him. He tosses Nayak's handful of coins to his wife, who is overjoyed at the unexpected sum. But the money is secondary to his real victory. Sitting on the porch after dinner, he turns to her. breathing a massive sigh of relief. A terrible weight he has carried since his youth is finally gone. He explains that the man he believed he murdered in a drunken rage is actually alive. He had blood on his hands, and now he knows he is innocent. He lets out a yawn, stretches out on his mat, and prepares to finally sleep. The fear that drove him from his home has evaporated, leaving him a truly free man. The brilliance of Narayan's story lies in its double irony. The fraud, who knew nothing of the stars, delivered a flawlessly accurate reading, but only because he was recounting his own crime. This diagram illustrates the second twist. The victim spends years seeking revenge, only to unwittingly pay his own attacker for guidance. And in doing so, the murderer provides the victim with closure. Through this, Narayan shows us how life often resolves its conflicts in strange, circular patterns. The most elaborate lies can inadvertently produce a deeply needed truth. The astrologer didn't rely on magic, and he didn't resort to violence. He survived his past simply by letting the universe play out its own humorous irony.